Yeah! Everybody reach into your right pocket and your left shoe, because I left some chuggas in there. Please join me in singing Chugga Chugga and dance along. Here we go. Chugga, 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 clap, clap, roll. Chugga, 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 clap, clap, roll. Don't you know there's a radical God? Don't you know there's a radical God? God's name is peace, peace. God's name is love, love. And God left the heavens above. And in case you haven't heard the word, there's a radical God. Chugga, 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 clap, clap, roll. Chugga, 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 clap, clap. Repeat after me. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. There's a radical God, there's a radical God. There's a radical God, there's a radical God. Made the earth and the seas and the stars and the sky. Made the earth and the seas and the stars and the sky. God came to earth, God came to die. God came to earth, God came to die. But God didn't stay there. God didn't stay there. God could stay there. God could stay there. God rose from the grave. God rose from the grave. Let's all apply. Let's all apply. That's why. That's why. There's a radical God. Chugga, 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 clap, clap, roll. Chugga, 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 clap, clap, roll. Don't you know there's a radical God? Don't you know there's a radical God? God's name is peace, peace. God's name is love, love. And God left the heavens above. And in case you haven't heard the word, there's a radical God. Chugga, 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 clap, clap, roll. Chugga, 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 clap. Really loud! Chugga, 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 clap, clap, roll!
Are we explaining everything?
All right, welcome back to day 4 of Vacation Bible School. I just want to say, and I have my helpers coming up behind me here. We've got Grace and Maddie and Annalise who are back to help us today. I want to say a great thank you to all of you who have been participating every day. And you can't see her, but we've got someone behind the scenes here who does not want to be seen. A grandma, one of our church grandmas who's been here every day packing your bags for you. So we just want to say a big, huge thank you to Kathy for all of her work behind the scenes, making this VBS happen. And teacher Stephanie as well from our preschool, and a lot of other people have made this possible. So a big thank you today. And today remember our overall theme is all God's children. What makes you a child of God? And today the attribute we're talking about is hope. Hope is such an important thing in this time in our life together. We trust and hope that God is with us and loves us and calls us God's children all the time, even when things are hard. And so we're going to be talking about that today, and also light, how God's hope in our lives is like a light in our lives when we need it. Something else really special today is some of you participating in our meal part of our VBS today. Not everyone is, and that's just fine, but some of you are, which means that later in our live stream, we're going to have a cooking class with Chef Lisa and her assistant Karla. They've been the ones that have been, along with Kristen, making our meals on our Wednesday nights for such a long time, so they're back today to show us how to cook some meatballs for our Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs themed dinner that some of you are participating in. So we'll show that right at the end of the live stream. So right now we want to go through what's in your bags for today and talk a little bit about that before we get back to our farm tour. So you all in your bags have a few items. And so one of the things you have are your kits of papers. Bum, 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 bum. Today we're reading the story of when Jesus raises Jairus' daughter. It's from Luke chapter 8. And so also in there you have a little baggie with a cute little girl on it. So we want to invite you to recreate that story on your front page with your little stickers or drawings or whatever else you want to do. And Annalise is going to be reading that story for us in just a moment. Also in your bag today, you've got this kit right here to make some chalk art. We're going to show you some examples of what you can do. We've got painter's tape, beautiful chalk, and then in here too should be your baggies of tissue paper, and that's for the other project. You girls want to show your other project, and that is making candle holders, beautiful stained glass candle holders. Dun, dun, dun. Great job. Ooh, lovely. They got them started, so we're going to show you and demonstrate that craft for you in a little bit too. And then, of course, you have snacks, and ooh, I got Oreos in my bag today. That's kind of fun. And so that's what you have in your bags, in addition to having your box of supplies for the dinner. And so we're going to have Annalise. Annalise is going to read our Bible story right now from Luke chapter 8, and then we're going to talk about the questions about it, and then we'll go on our farm tour in just a little bit. Oh, actually, that's okay. It's it is that one. Okay. Yep.
This is the story of how Jesus restores sight and gives life. A blind man felt his friends pulling him through the noisy crowd. Is Jesus really going to be able to heal me? He wondered. At last, he heard one of his friends pleading, "Master, I beg you, touch our friend so he can see again." Then the blind man felt Jesus' hands gently touch his eyes. "Can you see anything?" Jesus asked. "I can see people, but they look like trees walking around." So Jesus put his hands on the man's eyes again. Now this time the man looked around in wonder. "Wow, now I can clearly see." Another time, a man named Jairus ran to Jesus with tears streaming down his face. "Please, Master, my daughter is dying. Come quick." When they got to Jairus' house, the girl had already died, and everyone was weeping. "Don't cry," Jesus said. "She's just sleeping." Jesus took Jairus and the girl's mother into the room where she lay. He took the little girl's hand and said, "Child of God, wake up." She immediately sat up in bed. Then her stomach growled. Jesus smiled and said, "Feed her, she's hungry." Dear God, thank you for healing me when I'm sick.
Great job, Annalise, and we know that Maddie and Grace are working on their questions, and we're going to come back and do that. They aren't ready with their questions. And then we're going to come back and do that in a little bit. Just a reminder, too, that you've got a word find and a little quiz in your packets today. Hopefully you're putting those packets all together to make one big book of your VBS memories for this year. And so hopefully you're collecting all those, and then you can tell the story of what we did together. But now we're going to go on a little bit more of our farm tour, and today it involves cats. So get ready for that. Here it comes.
Type of rodent.
Let them know I'm working on the sound for the farm tour.
Oh,
And you
okay.
can answer your questions. Okay.
Let's go right here. Oh, hi. Wait, can I see this?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
hi. Okay, so Pastor Sarah is working on the sound for the farm tour because it's not working right now. But we're going to answer the questions while she works on that. So, okay. So, when did... When did Jairus go to Jesus?
He went to Jesus when his daughter was dying. Okay, that's number one. So number two is, what did he hope Jesus would do?
He hoped that he would heal his daughter.
The next one?
No, the next one is, how did Jesus help him and her?
He healed her by saying she was only sleeping.
And woke her up.
And then she woke up and was healed. And then the last one is, why do we say Jesus gives us hope?
Because he helps us in times of trouble and he works miracles like he did on this girl.
Yep.
Very good. All right, let's hope our farm tour works.
Bye, guys.
Welcome to Lutherwood Farm. My name is Anthony, and today I'm going to show you a virtual tour of our farm. But I realize I can't do this alone. I think I might need some friends. Hopefully we'll meet some friends today in the farm. Wait, is that Lori? But Everton? I realize. Come on over. Hey, how are you? Good to see you. Yeah, so today I want to show our friends kind of what we have. Is that Lori? But I realize. Come on over. You can join us.
That sounds fun.
All right.
I was just getting ready to go collect some eggs. You want to go over there with me?
Let's start with the chickens.
Let's do it.
Let's go this way.
I got to get my basket, though.
Okay.
Hold on.
All right, so this is one of our chicken coops. On our farm here, we have 3 chicken coops. So we call this the smaller coop. And right over there is our chicken palace for some of our older chickens, and that also can house a little bit more in that. So we're gonna talk to you about our chickens, why they're important, so come along. Lori, how many eggs are you collecting a day?
Well, this time of year, the production starts to move up. In the winter, because there's not enough light, we don't collect nearly as many eggs. But as the that's one of our roosters, by the way. As the weather warms, the production count goes up. So right now we're in the 50s.
Okay.
And soon, very soon, we should be upwards of 75 or 80.
What's the most you've ever seen in an egg collection?
One day I collected last summer, I think it was 89 eggs.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I think the smallest this winter was like 20.
20 something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can get pretty low.
It can get low in the winter because there's not enough light. So.
And Lori, is it true that some of these chickens have actually been hatched on this farm?
Yes, we've actually incubated 53 chickens this
53?
year. 53?
Wow.
Yeah, so 53 of these were incubated at Luther Glen Farm and born here. And they've been here since they were little teeny tiny.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Now, when chickens lay eggs, does it happen twice a day? How often are they laying their eggs?
That's a great question. So chickens will... That rooster's really good.
He's probably hungry. Yeah.
Well, I think they make that noise to show they're in control.
Yeah.
But anyway, chickens lay an egg on average 1 every 26 hours.
Okay.
So you can imagine we have about 100 and something chickens here. I lose count every now and then. So if they're laying, some are better layers. Like the Rhode Island Reds are really, really good layers. That rooster right there is a Rhode Island Red. It's a rooster, so it doesn't lay eggs. But we have a lot of Rhode Island Reds. We have Buff Orpingtons, the gold ones. We have what they call gold sex links. We have Americanas. We have Plymouth. We have all kinds of different breeds of chickens, and that's why they all look different.
That's so
But
cool.
usually it's about every 26 hours. But they only lay for a few years, and then they kind of, the production goes way down.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We're going to take you inside our chicken coop, and we're going to collect eggs.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about our eggs, they come in different colors. So let's go take a look.
Let's go see what we have. Sometimes we get green, pink, and red, but not always. That's kind of rare.
All right, if you see right here, this is the chicken palace where most of our chickens live. We're going to enter their space, and Lori's going to show us her technique of collecting the eggs, and our eggs are very important to us, and we'll kind of learn more about that. So come inside.
So what I do, and I do this twice a day, is I start at the end. So as you can see, a lot of these guys are laying eggs, which is kind of unfortunate. But I start down here, and I kind of just dig under here and see, and I usually thank them for their service. So look at that one. It's kind of an olive color. Really pretty. Thank you. Okay, and then I put them in here. Some of them like to bite you, but not too much. Now, under here, this little gal's giving me 2, and they're kind of a pinkish, so that's kind of pretty. This one's probably not going to be real happy with me. But we've got a real light, like a white one. So there's tons. You know, we do this several times a day, and we get as many eggs as we can.
And farm fresh eggs are my favorite. So what's the great thing about once we get these eggs, during the year when we have groups come in here, we'll be able to offer them farm fresh eggs for breakfast, or if Huck, our cook, makes a really great dessert, he can use eggs in. But right now, we've been selling our eggs to the frontline workers during this pandemic in our community. And so we're so thankful that these chickens are able to provide eggs to people who are doing hard work. We're also providing eggs to people in need. So to our local food missions, and we're so thankful that churches have been purchasing eggs from us. So we're so thankful for our chickens. All right, so as you can see behind me, we have some greens growing on our farm right by our chickens. So we kind of shift our chickens around. Is that correct, Lori? Kind of rotate where they're going to roam.
So if you look at this pasture area, it's very green. But if you look over here, you don't see anything, right? And that's what chickens will do to an area. So this is about ready for the chickens to shift. So we'll move them over, and we have 3 pastures, as you can see. So we will move these chickens over to this area so they're getting fresh food and we don't have to give them the corn. And then this area will end up looking just like the one behind you, and in no time at all. It takes a few weeks for them to just go through it, but it makes much better eggs, darker yolks, harder shells. And when they eat these fresh foods, it's just amazing.
It makes a big difference.
Yeah.
It's so great. So we're so thankful to have this space. So let's continue on our farm journey.
So now I'm at our egg washing station, which is inside our Bowen barn, which is amazing, by the way. I hope you'll get to take a look at that soon. But what we do here is we use this little bucket, and we put soap and water in here, and we wash the eggs lightly. You don't want to wash the eggs too much. This is only a portion of the eggs. We've collected 3 times today, actually. But you don't want to wash them too much, or you kind of penetrate the shell and they don't stay as fresh. But once I wash them, I store them, and then we have this refrigerator here that we put them in, and then we take them up to either our camp or our retreat center. But today, I hope I broke 50. It looks like I've got some in there already. 28. So yeah, we're pretty close to about 50 something today. So yeah, it was a good egg day, and I thanked all those chickens for their service to the Luther Glen farm. So Anthony, we're in the pig pen
Yes,
now.
this is such a great part of our farm because I love our pigs. Our pigs play a very important part in our farm. So we have 2 pigs. We have Fred and we have George. If you take a look, George is right behind you. And George is a very sweet pig.
I like
He
George.
loves to be pet.
Yeah,
and if
George
you get a really good little tickle on his stomach, he might lay down and kind of hang out with you. So this is George, and we have Fred over there. Now, it is hot here in the mountains.
Really hot.
And it's so important that we make sure that every animal has water, but our pigs especially need a bath. And hopefully we know the importance of a bath, right? So here we have our mud bath where we fill it up every day, sometimes even twice a day. If it's really hot, maybe even 3 times a day. So our pigs go and they're cool off. Lori, can you tell us about that process? Why would a pig need to cool off?
Well, they don't have glands that work like we sweat.
Yes, I'm sweating right now.
Yeah, because it's hot, but they don't. So they have to use the natural water. And so when they talk about a mud bath, this is literally a mud bath. And pigs root, so they'll root down there and get all the dirt, and they get it all over them, and it helps cool them. if you look right here at George's bath, right here, it's coated with mud. And that's how he keeps cool with that mud bath. So the water is one of the most essential things that pigs really need. They don't eat a lot of food.
No, but the cool thing, so we mentioned earlier that our pigs play an important part on our farm, and they really do. Often when we make a salad bar for one of our meals, if there's vegetables that we're not using, or if a vegetable is going towards the end of their life, we can feed them to our pigs and also some of our leftovers. We don't want to waste our food.
Ever.
We're very passionate about making sure we're not wasting our food. And so we get to give that food that we maybe would have thrown away to our pigs. And that's such an important piece to make sure that we're sustainable by feeding our pigs with that food.
And also the pigs, when I said they root, they will also, if we have bad weeds we don't like, we just let the pigs out in an area and they will literally pull the roots out of the ground, which is amazing. They're great weeders, so we like them for that. We, tend to have the goats go out first, but then the pigs pull up the roots.
Yes.
So we don't have to weed.
No, we are so thankful for our pigs. So thank you for joining us for our pigs. Next stop is the alpacas. What you doing, Lori?
Well, this is kind of one of our activities in the summer. These alpacas get really, really hot. Even though they've been sheared recently, they have a lot of fleece on them. And so they just love, especially this one, loves to get wet. And so the other ones aren't real sure, but Gloriana loves this. And it helps cool her down. And when she's ready to carry on her day, oh, you're such a pretty girl. They love it. And then sometimes they roll afterwards, but they get hot. It gets hot up here.
Hey everyone, Lori and I are here with our 3 alpacas. Why don't you come on in? We want to kind of talk to you about why we have our alpacas. So Lori, tell us why these friends of ours are important to our farm.
Well, the alpacas have this neat thing on them called fiber. So we can take that fiber, once a year we shear these guys, and we get enough fiber that we can knit sweaters, blankets, and we can even sell the fiber. It becomes yarn. You can spin it into yarn. So they're very valuable. And the fiber on these guys is like cashmere. It's, you know cashmere?
I think I've seen it before. I don't own it. It's smooth. It's quality.
Smooth, but it's very soft. So it's so soft that you, because I know you're starting to knit, one day could make yourself a sweater out of one of those animals.
One of these
Isn't
days.
that awesome?
And now, I saw you dump a bunch of grass. What kind of grass are we feeding our alpacas?
So they graze during that early morning. Wow. So they graze during the early morning and they eat the natural environment out here, whatever grasses grow. But then in the afternoon, we feed them orchard grass and Bermuda.
Great,
It's a blend, and we mix it together, and they get very excited when it's time to eat, as you can tell.
And these alpacas are, I think, 8-9 years old. Is that correct?
Yeah, the one, this is Gloriana, the brown one, and she's 8, and the other 2 are 9.
Great.
And that's Laura Bell and Honey. They came with names when we got them. I'm not sure we'd have picked them.
But I think they're probably one of our favorite animals. They're very majestic. They make these noises when they're hungry. And one thing we've learned with these alpacas is they're not a fan of our pigs.
No, they're afraid of the pigs. They're herd animals in a sense, and they're very protective, and they travel in groups. You should never just have one alpaca. No. They'd be really sad. But pigs threaten them.
Yeah.
So they're always on guard for something that's going to attack.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought they wouldn't like poor George?
Should we go see the sheep?
Yeah, let's do
right.
it. Okay, so Anthony, these are, do you remember their names?
Yes, we have Roscoe and Waffles.
Yeah, but what are they?
Oh, these
are these goats?
These are not goats. They're not zebras. No, I don't remember.
These are sheep.
Sheep, and they're a special kind of sheep. What kind?
They are called South Down Baby doll sheep.
And what makes them special?
Well, they're tiny. So if you notice, some sheep get really, really large.
Oh, yeah.
And these sheep are tiny. And these are full-grown sheep right now.
Wow.
And they also have really neat what they call it fleece. So we call it fiber on the alpacas, but on the sheep it's called fleece.
Okay.
And we can knit with this as well.
That's so great.
Yeah, we can spin the yarn and we can sell it.
And they were just sheared because I remember a couple months ago they were so fluffy, which is important. In the mountains we get a lot of snow,
right.
But in the summer it's so hot, so it's important for us to keep them cool, right?
So we sheared them just, gosh, I think a month ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's already starting to grow back, but by winter it'll be that thick.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And they kind of smile sometimes when you look at them. They
yeah.
have like this little smirk on them.
They're friendly.
Yeah.
They love to be petted.
Yeah.
So that's our South Down baby
Doll sheep. So this is one of our farm dogs. His name is Ranger, and we also have Shasta and Annie. We love our dogs because they protect our animals. As you can see over here, we have our goats up on the top of the orchard where they're eating now. So Ranger is here to protect them and keep them safe. He's a big old teddy bear, but we're so proud and thankful to have a dog to make sure that our animals are safe. And then on the farm, we have Shasta and Annie guarding down there. So these are livestock guardian dogs, and they are doing a great job to keep our farm safe. Welcome to our goat area, living space of the orchard. We have 5 goats here at Liquid Ground Farm, and they all have so much personality, which I love that about the goats here. So let me introduce you to our goat friends. So right here we have Tic Tac, we have Jessie, Regina, Laura Beth is eating back there, and then we have Esther eating inside the goat structure. So a little bit about our goats. If you look at Regina here, she is fully grown. She is not a young goat. She's fully grown. She's a Nigerian dwarf goat. Then we have Laura Beth, who's a pygmy goat, and also Esther. So Esther is actually the mother of Laura Beth. And then we have our 2 brand new goats that came here not too long ago. And so I'm not sure if you can tell, but our goats are pregnant. So that includes Regina, Laura Beth, and Esther. So after they give birth, we'll be able to use their milk to make goat soap. We've done that before. And so we've used like different things from our garden, like lavender and sage, to kind of give the soap a scent. What we love about our goats is when we have a lot of weeds, they'll chop that down. And so right now we are feeding them their afternoon feeding, which is alfalfa grass. But during the day, they will just kind of roam the orchard and kind of eat all the weeds here. So we love our goats. Like I said, they have a lot of personality here. So one thing I wanted to teach you about our goats, if I can get Laura Beth to turn here, if you look at their pupil, it's kind of a rectangle. You can see that. But the reason why they have that is so that they can be on guard if there are any predators kind of walking behind them. You can kind of get a full perspective of their viewpoint. So it helps them to keep safe there. So kind of a little fun fact about our goats. And one thing too, if I can open up her mouth, goats only have bottom teeth. You see that? It's kind of funny. They only have bottom teeth. So if you ever were nibbled by a goat, it wouldn't really hurt because it's just the bottom teeth that are there and the top is gums. And that also is for the sheep as well. So the goats only have bottom teeth. So on our farm, we have 2 farm cats. This is Lulu. We also have Percy, who often likes to hide and kind of discover things. But we're so thankful for our 2 cats who do a lot of hunting on the farm, whether that be bugs, mice, or other type of rodents. We have 2 cats. They are just under a year old, and they've been on our farm, so like I said, just taking care of things. So we're thankful to have these other awesome creatures. So Lulu, say hello to our friends. Hello. Our farm is always important to us to make sure we're always growing fresh food for animals. If you take a look here, we have our pasture on the farm and a beautiful view of the Bowen barn. Lori, can you tell me more about why this pasture was grown and what it's doing for our chickens, as you can see
sorry about that the farm tour was a repeat for some of you. That first part of it, that's my fault. I having some technical difficulties, but we'll pick it back up tomorrow with some new sites from the farm for the rest of that farm tour. But now we have our helpers. They're going to talk to us about our craft today and remembering that God gives us light and hope. And so we're going to make these candle holders that maybe could be your centerpiece for your dinner that you're going to be hopefully sharing whenever and however. But just that reminder of God's presence with us. So they're going to demonstrate these decoupage candle holders.
Okay, so,
Just explain how to do it first.
yeah, so everyone got a jar or we don't have another one, but there's a big, like, boss.
And some kind of jar, and then you got a bag of this tissue paper, and then you should have glue from 2 days ago? Yesterday? You should have glue, so if you don't have that, go and get it.
And then just get a cup of, like, a little bit of water.
Just
and,
like this much of water? Yeah.
And put it in a cup, and then once you have your cup of water, you can put the glue from a couple days ago. You can put the glue from a couple days ago just pour it into the water and mix it with either like a paintbrush or a popsicle
we use
stick.
like a popsicle stick to mix it.
Yep.
And then you can use your paintbrush or popsicle stick and rub it on the jar, and then stick the tissue paper on.
Yeah, so basically
Just like,
take like, I don't know if you can see my jar, but you could put like a little bit of, there's glue on this popsicle stick. You put the glue on there, and then get a piece of paper and stick it right where you put the glue. And just like pat it down a little bit.
and then once you're finished doing one side like this, you can take more glue and put it on top, just so it stays.
Yep, and
Like
you
that.
can make your jar like look however you want it to.
Yeah. I did mine red and green.
I did mine rainbow.
Yep, and I did mine just a mix of all the colors, so.
And
Up
that
to you.
way, when you put your candle in it and light your candle, the colors from the tissue paper will shine through.
Yep.
Good?
Yeah. Have fun.
All right, perfect. Well, we're going to play another camp song here now, and then we'll come back with our cooking lesson for those of you who want to watch how to make some salad and some meatballs in a little bit. And then, again, we want to thank you all for being a part of VBS this week, and we have one more day left tomorrow. We have really amazing stuff planned for that final day, so we're looking forward to seeing you then.
Bye.
See you soon.
Yeah! Everybody reach into your right pocket and your left shoe, because I left some chuggas in there. Please join me in singing Chugga Chugga and dance along. Here we go. Chugga, 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 clap, clap, roll. Chugga, 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 clap, clap, roll. Don't you know there's a radical God? Don't you know there's a radical God? God's name is peace, peace. God's name is love, love. And God left the heavens above. And in case you haven't heard the word, there's a radical God. Chugga, 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 clap, clap, roll. Chugga, 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 clap, clap. Repeat after me. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. There's a radical God, there's a radical God. There's a radical God, there's a radical God. Made the earth and the seas and the stars and the sky. Made the earth and the seas and the stars and the sky. God came to earth, God came to die. God came to earth, God came to die. But God didn't say that. God didn't say that. God could say that. God could say that. God rose from the grave. God rose from the grave. Let's all apply. Let's all apply. That's why. That's why. There's a radical God. Chugga, 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 clap, clap, roll. Chugga, 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 clap, clap, roll. Don't you know there's a radical God? Don't you know there's a radical God?
One more thing we forgot to share earlier is that in your kit you have some tape and chalk, like we talked about at the beginning, to go ahead and make a mural somewhere on a sidewalk. Here's an example of a mural that you can make where you make the design with the chalk and then, or with the tape, and then fill it in with the chalk. And you can make a beautiful image, hopefully a sign of hope for someone in your neighborhood. And so here's some examples of that to share with you. And now to our cooking class.
Hello, VBS kids. It's Lisa Retamosa here, Pastor Manuel's wife, also cook on Wednesday nights with Karla Berry. She's another cook on Wednesday nights. Maybe you've seen us. I'm also married to Pastor Manuel. He's behind the camera. You can't see him. But so tonight you guys are going to cook dinner with your grown-ups for everyone in your house. It's going to be really fun. We thought we'd do a dinner and a movie pairing. Now my suggestion is you can watch whatever you want to watch, or you can watch nothing, or you can do it however you want. But the way I would do it, I would make all this and watch Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, which is what we're making: meatballs, sauce, and pasta. We're not making the pasta, but you'll get the idea. So it's a good movie pairing with the menu. It'll be really fun, and I think you'll have a good time. And then you'll know how to do something. So when you want to make dinner for your family, you can just go to this recipe. So let me talk about, you each have a box kit. This is the Zimmerle's box. Sarah Zimmerle, Maggie Zimmerle. Maggie, for the Zimmerle's, they're gluten-free. So they have gluten-free pasta, they have gluten-free bread, and nothing else in here has gluten. So if any of you have a dietary restriction, we have accommodated that, and your box is ready for what you need. So we're going to go over really quick what's in your boxes. So we have, what you're going to be doing is mixing the ground beef with your container that says wet ingredients for meatballs. And you also have dry ingredients for meatballs. You are going to mix, and I'll show you how to do this because I'm going to do it. Mix all of these three things together in the bowl, but not yet. We also have beans, garbanzo beans and kidney beans in a dressing, which if you'll recall on Wednesday nights, this is what Karla is going to make, is the salad that we have on Wednesday nights. So your parents will like that. I want you to have 3 bites, okay? Just 3 bites. 1 bite, it takes more than 1 bite to know if you like something. So
Holy Trinity of bites.
Yeah, Holy Trinity of bites. Good, well put. Okay, so Karla is going to start with the chopping. So Karla, do you want to go ahead and start, and I'll talk about what you're doing?
Okay.
So we have romaine here. Romaine is, she has to chop it lengthwise, the long way, and then she's also, when she does these long cuts, then when she slices it the other way, she will automatically have bite-sized pieces. So this is a really smart way. Now, we are not doing this for all of you. We are only doing this for the Zimmerles, because I know Sarah Zimmerle doesn't want to do this, so she's helping me out. So we're helping each other out.
Right.
So anyway, Karla is chopping romaine. Look, she's already done.
Watch your fingers.
Yes. Now, we could talk about proper knife technique right now while Karla is doing this. I call it the old lady claw. You want to look at my hands? When you chop, show her, you curl your knuckles back so the knife blade is touching your knuckle.
Otherwise, you would go like that.
And chop off your fingers. Don't do that. So use your knuckles as a guide. It feels weird at first, but you'll get used to it. So anyway, she's chopped the lettuce. Your lettuce is not chopped. You're going to have to do this. So please remember to wash your lettuce.
And even you won't be wearing gloves like I am, so make sure you wash your hands before.
So that's a good point to bring up, that we are food surgeons. We are food scientists. Even you, everyone is. So we have to have impeccably clean hands. That means every time you do something other than what you're doing. So if Karla were to stop and touch her hair or touch her face or pick up a toy or yell at her brother, even yelling at her brother and not touching anything, I want you to go wash your hands. Whatever it is, wash your hands. Especially in today's environment, good hand washing is just a good thing to know. Now, if you'll notice, Karla is chopping everything really small. And you notice the beans are small-ish. We want everything to be a uniform size. Uniform meaning very similar size. So this piece of broccoli that's big, Karla's going to cut that in strips. Don't throw that away. That has great nutrient in it. And it tastes really good. So she's going to chop that lengthwise, and then just like we did the lettuce, and then turn it and chop it into uniform pieces that are the same size of the beans. Again, we are doing this for Sarah Zimmerly. The rest of you are going to chop your own vegetables. So Karla is doing a good job. Next, we're going to have her go to the cucumber. So this is a Persian cucumber. This is a Persian cucumber. So see, she's cutting off the ends, and then she's going to cut it in half, then cut it in strips, and then cut those strips into quarters. So that way, again, uniform pieces. And she's going to, now when you're at home doing this, you're going to take this bean salad, put it in a bowl, and as you're chopping the rinsed vegetables in uniform pieces, you're going to be adding it to the dressing and the beans. And then as you're going, kind of stir it. We want all the vegetables to flavor the dressing and the dressing to flavor the vegetables. That's called a marinade. So that's essentially what she's doing. She's going to move on now to the tomato. Now, a lot of people have issues with tomatoes. Even Pastor Manuel has a tomato phobia. He cannot eat tomatoes. And what I've discovered, his issue with tomatoes is if it's too squishy, he doesn't like that, and he doesn't like the seeds. So, like, if you guys have been to the taco shop and you have pico de gallo, that's raw tomato. I don't know if you realize that. When you have that salsa, you are eating raw tomato. So
Do you want me to seed it?
Yeah, she's going to seed it.
This might not be easy to do.
Yeah, if you just want to lay it on the cutting board and not do it on your hand, there you go.
Okay.
And so what you're going to do is cut out the seed. Just, yeah, there you go.
Here, show me.
So a way that I would do it is just kind of cut it out.
Like a bell pepper.
Yep, like a bell pepper. You're cutting the seeds out because that's a part that, if people don't like tomatoes, it's that part. And if you get a firm tomato, which I made sure we did, then Karla's going to cut that in strips. And then those strips, just like everything else, is going to be cut into uniform small pieces and go into, it's going to be a bowl for you with the tomato, with the beans already in it. So then Karla's going to move on to the carrot. Now the carrot, I don't recommend or peeling carrots. I recommend washing it. I don't recommend peeling it. There's a lot of nutrient in the carrot that you need, and it's good for you. There's no reason to get rid of the skin. But do what you want to do. Talk it over with your grown-ups. So do you see what Karla's doing? She cut it in half to make it more, easier to maneuver, and then she's cutting each piece into kind of like planks. We call those, the culinary term for that is batons. And she's cutting this into a 1/4-inch dice, which is if you were working in a restaurant and you were a prep cook and your boss said, I need a 1/4-inch dice of mirepoix. That is 1/4 inches of celery, carrots, and onions. But anyway, that's what she's doing. She's going to cut through all these vegetables. And while she's doing that, and you've got the idea how that works, Pastor Manuel is going to zoom over here, and I'm going to show you how to do the meatballs. All right, so let me just talk about ground beef for a second. So ground beef, this is from Windmill Farms where I work. They have a butcher shop, and in that butcher shop, they grind their own beef. They don't get ground beef sent from somewhere else. So there's not a risk of E. coli. So wherever you go grocery shopping, ask them if they get their ground beef previously ground, or do they grind it themselves. It's just a little bit safer if they grind it themselves. So I'm going to add the wet ingredients, which is buttermilk and an egg. And the dry ingredients, we've got Italian flat leaf parsley, gluten-free breadcrumbs, dried basil, dried oregano, garlic, salt, pepper, and Parmesan. Now again, if you have a dietary restriction, you can't have dairy, your box is different. These are the boxes that have everything else. So, when we're making meatballs, this is not Play-Doh, okay? We don't want to work it to death because we'll get tough meatballs. We want to get it barely mixed and then stop. Resist the temptation to make a snowman or whatever it is you want to make. Do that with Play-Doh, not with this. Now you're going to decide what size meatball you like. That's up to you. If it's bigger, it's going to take longer to cook. I like about, what is that?
Golf ball.
Is that a golf ball?
A little larger than a golf ball.
A walnut size. I like that. Yeah, walnut ping pong ball, something like that. So they don't all have to be exactly the same, but uniform again would be nice. That way they cook all at the same time. Now, why did we put an egg in this? Why did we put buttermilk? And why did we put breadcrumbs? There's a reason for each. So the buttermilk has acid in it, and it's a tenderizer. So if you were to overmix, the buttermilk would help keep your meatballs tender. Why did we put breadcrumbs? It helps to dry it up because you've got, it's kind of wet. And why did we do, an egg? So an egg is liquid protein. When protein gets heated up, it constricts and binds everything together. So it turns into like glue that you can't see. So anyway, you see I'm turning all of these into meatballs. And what we're going to do in a minute, we're going to go over to the stove and brown these. And you want to make sure, like the pan I picked here at church, they don't have a lot of smaller pans, but I picked a pan that would be kind of similar to what you would use at home. And you're going to get whatever your favorite cooking oil is. I'm going to use olive oil. I'm going to brown these, not cook them all the way through, but brown them. And then turn down the heat and pour the sauce into the pan. You're going to bring the heat up again, bring it to a boil. Then reduce it to a simmer and put the lid on and let it cook for about 30 minutes, okay? Let me clean up a little bit here. Okay, and we'll go over here, turn on the heat. And this is where you'll need grown-up help.
Because you're playing with fire.
Playing with fire, you don't want to get burned. And I'm sure, you can still help out, especially if the fire is low and you're being safe, which I'm sure you will be. And remember, I have gloves, and I don't know if you do at home, maybe you do. If you do, you can use them, but you can still cross-contaminate. Let's say you're wearing gloves, you go from meatballs to chopping raw vegetables. That's not a good idea, because whoever eats it is going to have raw meat on their salad. Not good. We're going to let it sit a little bit. Now you can use tongs. Now this is a non-stick skillet, so I have to use plastic or wood. I can't use metal, otherwise I'll scratch the skillet. So basically from here, you brown it however much you want. You could get a little bit of brown, on a couple sides, or you could brown it all over. For me, I would just brown it on a couple of sides. Pour the sauce on, bring it up to high, get it boiling, put the lid on, reduce it to simmer, and then let it go for about 15-20 minutes. And then while that's happening, you should have your water boiling for your pasta. Have your water boiling for your pasta, and then cook your pasta. And then for your bread, on Wednesday nights, we slice all the bread, and we drizzle olive oil. We pour olive oil in a little bowl and drizzle with like a little teaspoon. So it's about a teaspoon of olive oil on each slice of bread with some kosher salt and black pepper in like a 400-degree oven for a couple minutes. You can do that, or you can make whatever bread you want. It's completely up to you because you're the chef. So anyway, that's everything. We hope you have a really wonderful dinner. We love you all. Hugs, fist bump, high five. Have a great dinner. Bye.
Bye. Have fun.